laying out steps, cutting steps, and then putting it all together. That's what we're going to be doing today here at the house. I'm finishing up this little platform, but I need a set of steps to get on top of it. Now, there's about 100 different ways, I'm sure, to build a set of steps, but I'm going to try to show the easiest way I know how to do it. But then I'm going to show the actual way you need to do it. The easiest thing I can think of to build some steps is when you go to Lowe's to pick out your material, just go over there and buy some of the pre-made ones. They come in 3 or 4 different sizes. Just buy some that's the closest size that'll fit and either shim them up or cut a little bit off the bottom to make them fit, whatever you need to do. But if they don't have any that's big enough, go ahead and buy one of these little small ones anyway. And then when you get home, use it as a pattern on a bigger board. Just trace on it and then slide it down the board and keep tracing until you get however many steps that you need. When you get done laying out your steps and cutting them out and putting them together, try your best not to lose that little tag on the side of these things, because when you get done with them, you can run them back to Lowe's and get your money back. If you're wanting to figure your own steps without a pattern, you're going to need a calculator, a pencil, and one of your kids' notebooks. Now, the basic rule of thumb for steps is 7 and 11. That's 7 inches up and 11 inches over. So after measuring the platform, it's 38 inches high. So what I'm going to do is divide 38 by 7. Comes out to 5.4. Well, you can't have 5.4 steps. So I'll just take the 5 and now I'll divide that by 38. And that gives us 7.6. That's close enough to 7 and 5/8. So our rise is going to be 7 and 5/8. And our step will be 11. So I'll take my framing square and put 11 inches on one edge of the board, and then I'm going to put 7 and 5/8 on the other edge of the board. Then I'm just going to trace my square. Get done, I'll just slide my square down, put 11 on the side, and 7 and 5/8 on the side. Then I'll trace it again. Now going back to the first step I drew out earlier, I'm going to square off of that line and I'm going to draw a line that is 6 1/8 inches long. I subtracted 1.5 inches. I'll explain why here in just a minute. But then I'm going to square off the line I just made and draw one more line. And I'm just going to let it run off the back of the board. I don't care how long it is. Now, I'm just going to keep sliding down the board with my 11 and 7 and 5/8 until I get 5 steps. When I get to the last step, I'm just going to follow this line all the way across the board. And when I cut it out, this is where I cut the board off to length. And before you start sawing, this is a great time to go back and count your steps, check your measurements, and make sure everything's right. Because these 2x12s are expensive. You don't want to mess this up. I'm being careful not to cut past my lines because I don't want my cuts to cross. I'll come back and use old Rusty to make all the cuts in the corners. And when you see old Rusty, you'll know why we call it that. Okay, got the first stringer cut out. I'm going to lean it up here and make sure that it fits and it looks good. And you see I'd lay that 2x4 on top up there. Well, that's why I took 1.5 inches off the bottom. So when I put my boards on the top of the steps, it'll plane out flush with the deck. And since this stringer's good, I'm going to use it as a pattern to cut my next one. This board I'm putting on now is going at the top of the steps. This is what I will use to fasten the steps to the side of the platform. Since I have to pick these things up and carry them across the yard, I'm only going to put them half together for now. I'll finish putting the rest of the steps in once I get it screwed to the side of the platform. Alright, so the platform turned out pretty good, but the steps aren't quite as level. So since this side looks pretty good, I'm going to use my leveling tool right here to dig out from under this side so it'll go down. Then I'll put a screw in it. You know, it's been probably 5 years since I've laid out a set of steps. But it's always fun to do because it's just different. But there's so much more figuring involved than what I showed today. These things can get pretty complicated, but this is the easiest and most generic way I could think of to show the world how to do it. So I hope y'all got something out of this video. But like always, thank you so very much for watching here at the house.
Bigger.